and welcome back to my channel. My name is Kathleen and today's video is going to be my January wrap up and my February TBR. So for the month of January, I had a good reading month, but I did not have a great reading month. I read 3 books, and while that's fantastic, I definitely felt like I could have read more because I went days and days on end without reading because I got really lazy. But anyway, let's go ahead and get started. Alright, and so the first book that I read in the month of January, also the first book that I read in 2017, is The Crown's Game by Evelyn Skye. This was the BIBLIO Squad's book pick of the month for the month of December. So I read this in the very first week of January because the live show was on the first Saturday of January, and I really enjoyed this. This is a fantasy novel and it's set in Russia, and basically the Tsar of Russia decides to start the Crown's Game. And in the Crown's Game, you basically take everyone who has magical ability in the kingdom, and it's not many, it's only 2 of them, and they have to play in the Crown's Game. Basically they have to show off their magical abilities to the Tsar, and in the end he gets to pick which one he wants to be his sorcerer, the kingdom's sorcerer or sorceress. And I really enjoyed this book. I did give this book 4 stars, but mostly because I did feel like the magic system was just a tiny little bit confusing. Also, I felt like the Crown's Game was very tame. The games that they did, the sets that they did against each other were kind of very tame, and I was very bored at one point, and I wanted to see more action from this book, I guess. If you would like to hear more of my thoughts, watch the live show. I'll leave it linked down below. It's an hour long, I'm sorry, but it is pretty informative. We obviously go into spoilery details on what we loved and didn't love about this book, but it was definitely really good, and I cannot wait for the second book that is being released this year, which is called The Crown's Fate. I'm so excited. Alright, and then the next book that I read in the month of January is a book that just changed my life, and it made its way into one of my favorite books of all time, and it is A Monster Call by Patrick Ness. I picked up this book after I was like going on a week without reading, and it was like 11 o'clock at night, and I was watching YouTube videos, and I was like putting my foot down, I'm picking up a book, and this book kept calling to me. It's fairly thin, it has full of illustrations, so I thought it was going to be a very quick and easy read. This book, I don't know how to say it. It tore my heart apart. It was just so devastatingly beautiful and sad. I literally bawled my eyes out reading this book. For it is about a boy who's having trouble at home, and he's also having trouble in school, and in the middle of the night he has this monster who comes and visits him, and it's all tied together, and you need to read this book. If you have not read this book, I encourage you to do so because it is so beautifully written and it just wraps itself around your heart. I rated this book 5 stars, but I feel like this book is one of those books you cannot rate it because it's so beautiful and it deserves more than just a mere 5-star rating. Alright, and then the next book that I read in the month of January, which also happens to be the last book I read in the month of January, was Children of Eden by Joey Graceffa. This was the BIBLIO Squad book pick of the month for the month of January. We just had our live show this past Saturday, so if you'd like to check out all of our spoilery thoughts on this book, I'll leave a link down below for you to watch. But basically this is Joey Graceffa's dystopian novel, and it's set in a world 200 years after this major world catastrophe that killed nearly the entire human population called the Eco-Fail, and all of the surviving human beings have been living in this place called the Eden, and because resources are so scarce, they have very strict reproduction laws, and basically every family can only have 1 child. Any more than that, it is very illegal, and our main character, Rowan, she is actually an illegal second child, and this is her story about living in a world where she doesn't technically exist because she is living in hiding, and in a world that if they were to find out that she does exist would kill her. I liked the story. You guys know me, I love dystopians, any kind of dystopians, no matter how overused, I love it, and so I really enjoyed the story. I thought it was very entertaining. Another thing that I really liked about this book is the fact that it's very diverse. Joey Graceffa does include an LGBT couple in here. I really enjoyed it. However, the problems outweighed the good things about this book. Okay, I rated this book 2 stars for a reason. The writing was not good at all. First off, there was a lot of info dumping, especially regarding the eco-fail. Second, the plot line, although very entertaining, was all over the place. I still don't understand what happened in the ending. I'm still kind of confused. I kind of get it, but I don't, you know, it's just all over the place. Number 3, one of my biggest pet peeves in YA books is the insta love, and this insta love was bad, but the way it ended, it leaves room for a sequel. So I am excited for a sequel because I want to see if the writing improves, because Joey Graceffa was so proud of this book and that he was really involved in the writing process. So I really want to support him, especially if it's an author who loves to write, whose writing is a passion, even though it's not his career. So I am excited to read his next book because I do want to see if he improves as a writer, and also because I really want to know what happens next in the story, because I really find the story interesting and entertaining. Those were all of the books that I read in the month of January. Now moving on to the books that I want to read in the month of February. So the first book that I want to read is Cinder by Marissa Meyer. As you can see, this is just a dust jacket. I have the book on my nightstand because I am currently reading it. But basically, I've had this book for over a year and I've never read it. And apparently everyone and their mother loves this series. And so I need to read this book, especially because I read Heartless by Marissa Meyer and I loved that book. It was so good. And then the next book has been featured on my TBR videos many times and I've never picked it up. Those of you who have been on my channel for a while, then you know the book that I'm talking about, and you're probably tired of seeing me say that I'm going to read this book and I haven't. And it is City of Bones by Cassandra Clare. This is book number 1 in the Mortal Instrument series, and I have been saying that I wanted to read this book since 2015. I wanted to read initially this book before 2015 ended because I wanted to read this before the Shadowhunter season 1 started, and then I didn't. And then I said I was going to read it in 2016, and then I didn't. And so I said that I'm going to read it in 2017, and I still haven't. So I'm going to read this book this month no matter what, because I'm getting tired of seeing it there staring at me telling me to read it because I haven't. So I will read this book this month, I promise. Alright, and then the third book that I chose to read during the month of February is Ruined by Amy Tintera. So Amy Tintera wrote one of my favorite YA dystopians of all time, which is Reboot and Rebel. I actually talked about those books in my favorite YA dystopian book series of all time, and I'll leave links down below if you would like to watch that video. But she wrote her first fantasy book, which the second book is coming out this year. And I still haven't read this one, even though I claim to love her so much. I don't know too much about this book other than that it is a YA fantasy book, but I'm really excited. I love her writing styles. I feel like her books are very entertaining and they're so action-packed. Alright, and finally, the last book that I'm planning on reading during the month of February is Ready Player One by Ernest Cline. This is a very much beloved dystopian book. I don't know too much about it other than that there's a video game and everybody plays it and you have to do something in the video game. I'm not 100% sure, but a lot of people talk about this book and they sing their praises for this book, so I'm really excited. Anyway guys, that is it for my January wrap up and my February TBR. Leave me a comment down below letting me know what your favorite book that you read in January was, because I really would love to know. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Please give it a like if you did and subscribe to my channel if you're not already. All of my social medias are linked down below, including Twitter, Instagram, and Goodreads if you would like to follow me. I hope to see you guys on my next video. Have a good day guys and keep reading. Bye!